Here we are once again. That can only mean one thing. It is Wednesday at noon Eastern Time. Of course, there's the High Noon Hemp Show. We're here every Wednesday on the Hemptations Beach Facebook page, on demand as well if you subscribe to the Jedi Hemp channel on YouTube. I'm, of course, Joe Clare. You can Google me for various projects that I'm involved in. And, of course, the man himself, high above hemp quarters in Sharonville. It is Beach. Beach, how are things in Hemptations land?
Well, things could be better, that's for sure. Today's episode, I was going to try to go as long as I could without crying again, is dedicated to my cousin Carrie, who passed away just this week. I was going to try to get some good news in first, talk about Carrie in a minute. But the good news is that and I talked about this last week, the charges against Robbie Faulkner, the 2 felony charges for the CBD products were dropped. I just talked about it last week, and almost as soon as the show was over, his mom contacted me. The rumor is they might still try to do something, but those 2 charges have been dropped, so that's good news. On to the bad news. Today's show will be dedicated to my cousin Carrie. Normally, it wouldn't be such an issue for me to be to do a show, but she was literally our best viewer. She watched the High Noon Hemp Show every week. I think one of the only episodes she might have missed was the first time, and long story short, she had some heart issues, had a couple open heart surgeries, went home, and passed away Monday night. I'm gonna try to straighten up here a little bit. And again, she watched the show every week. We had been in a lot of contact. She, of course, had been asking me advice on CBD and this and that. As far as those things go, and this kind of just hit out of nowhere, and just is devastating to the family, obviously, and she will be missed, not because she was our greatest viewer, but because she was a great person, and I think that I don't know what other words to say. Other than thank all of you that watch, every day is a blessing, I suppose. That is in no way a religious statement. I'm just saying that we are very fortunate to be here on this big rock that's spinning around for whatever reason. And I know she cherished her days. She had a beautiful daughter, and a great husband, awesome sister, awesome parents, and she loved to watch the High Noon Hemp Show every Wednesday. If there was one person that's name showed up, it was hers. And so she will be so missed, and she will be remembered forever, no doubt about that. And as I try to get myself straightened up and on with the show dedicated to Carrie, hopefully, if she believes she's watching, then I believe she's watching, and she'll always be watching. And so now we'll have a moment of silence for 20 seconds or so, remembering Carrie. Thank you, Carrie. All right. Well, all right, I'm going to get as straight as I can now. I tried to do the best I could. Well, that was up, and maybe in between the pictures of the product spotlights as we move forward to this episode dedicated to longtime viewer. The first one again. I feel like there are two things that I want to do in the hemp world, and that is bring back hemp paper. And the other is to make everything out of hemp plastic. And so the first product that we have is something that we've carried in the stores for a long time. Greenfield Paper Company has been around almost as long as I can remember. We've been in business, and this is their sketchbook, which is
give me trouble the other way, so we'll do it this way.
I was wondering if it was a good show. I was just going to keep talking. This is the sketchbook. This is kind of the medium-sized sketchbook. These run $11.37 in the stores, and so if you like to doodle or do sketches on the go, again, this is kind of a medium-sized sketchbook with, I believe the best they're doing right now. Most of their paper is 25% hemp, 75 post-consumer waste, which is the same paper that I use for everything and whatnot. And so it's a step in the right direction to get all paper made out of hemp again. So we need to stop cutting down trees for paper and make all paper out of hemp again and be done with it. What a beautiful world.
Yes.
The second is a food product. I'd like to key on a food product. This is the Natalie's Choice Hemp Hearts peanut butter. This jar runs $9.95, and it's about 50-50 hemp hearts and peanut butter or peanuts. It's become one of my favorites when I make my peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Josie still loves it. We give her medicine with a big ball of hemp heart peanut butter. Josie's our dog, if you didn't know, out there in the world. I didn't want you to think it was like a kid of mine or something. Anyway, made over in, I believe there are Natalie's Choice in Pennsylvania. I know that's where we get the product from. And so the next, speaking of pets and whatnot, is a pet product. This is the From the Field Tugga Hemp. This is the medium size, which is really hard to tell from the picture. They make a smaller, a skinnier, kind of smaller, and a much larger one that Josie has in fact devoured herself. These run $5.37 in the store. And so again, a dog seem to love to play and chew on hemp toys like this, and you can feel good about it because there was no herbicides or pesticides grown. It's an all natural fiber. It's probably a little better for them than some other fibrous toy. And so again, we have a full line of those, but this is kind of the medium one. Runs $5.37 in the stores. And the last is a CBD product. This is the product, actually. I had no idea it was going to be such a pet themed. I never didn't put it together till just now. That shows you where my head is. But it's the Colorado Hemp. Again, this is CBD. They call it the Hip and Joint. It's salmon flavored. This is a 500 milligram flavor or tincture. I think they run about $74.37. And again, this would last a long time because, Josie's about a 100-pound dog, and I wouldn't give her any more than maybe an eyedropper of this during a thunderstorm, and that would be 10 milligrams. So for a smaller pet, 20 to 30-pound animal, you only really want to give that one, maybe 2-3 milligrams, 5 milligrams at a time for a small pet, and so it would last longer. And obviously we're still working on CBD prices. I know things are expensive in the CBD world, but I also know that we have a lot of pet owners that are coming in and their animals are finding the relief. I think that they're satisfied with the relief that these CBD products can give them. we've always given Josie from the very beginning the tincture. It wasn't formula. It was the same tincture we used. So the same tincture we used, we would give it to her during thunderstorms to calm her down. And so, obviously, if you have a dog with hip and joint issues, that CBD, because of its what we believe its anti-inflammatory properties, this could aid with some of those things. And so those are the 4 products from the stores, 4 from the store, as I like to say, 1 from my door. I have been, as you can see, we've changed the formula a little bit. Whereas now we went through so many brands that we are now focusing on specific products of a brand sort. My boy Nick, who is also a longtime viewer, advised me to give prices. And now that we are specifically talking about specific products, I can do that. And so that's why we've got to add this specific product and price part of the product spotlight. Still pulling 4 products from the store. So all those products are obviously available at any one of the Hemptations locations, and maybe online soon if we get the online site up, but not yet. Now this next this is a personal item of mine. This particular banner, I believe, originally was woven by the Hmong tribe. Now the Hmong tribe they've gotten into the hemp fiber world in their part of the world, and I've had this. I don't know how long I've had this banner, quite a while. I think there's a couple of them. There may be one still hanging in the O'Brienville store, and then I have this one hanging right out to the steps of my office. It's quite faded. The yellow is still pretty yellow, but the red, it used to be pretty red on the bottom. And for, obviously it has that Rastafari and the lion theme to it. This is I've been carrying this banner around. Usually if I go, a lot of times if I go and going to go set up the hemp museum or whatnot, I'll take this out with it. It's as much probably a part of the hemp museum as anything. And so again, I can't imagine how long I've had that, a good 15 years at least. And so there you have it, folks, as far as the product spotlight. 4 from the store, 1 from literally right outside my door. There's more information at Hemptation on the second page of Hemptations.com. Not only does it list the events that I talk about here on the High Noon Hemp Show, but it also lists, and I try to keep it as up to date as I can, every hemp brand that we carry. And so there is a list off underneath the revolving pictures on the second page of Hemptations.com that lists every hemp product that we sell in the store currently, which I try to keep as up to date as possible. So if you're curious and you don't believe that we've gone through 100 or so, then you can go and you can count. I don't say that we have the largest selection of hemp on the planet, because I don't believe we have the largest selection of hemp on the planet. And so all this can be hopefully verified in the stores if you so desire. Making an adventure from wherever you are in the world to come to Cincinnati, Ohio. That's right, Cincinnati, Ohio.
That's where it happens.
To go to
That's where it all goes down.
That's where this is going down anyway. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Now,
Hemptations.com for locations, of course. And, of course, we're on the Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. It's in YouTube. It's all wonderful, wonderful stuff. But none of it is as wonderful as the coming segment, which is the greatest segment. I think it's official. I think maybe I've heard rumors that Mark Zuckerberg has even deemed it the greatest segment in Facebook history. I can't, allegedly.
They changed the entire format of Facebook, and I don't know if it was because of us or not, but it might have been.
Changed the name of Facebook to Beachwear. In fact, that's a rumor I've heard. It is the Beachwear segment, otherwise known as the greatest segment ever, otherwise known, a.k.a. What are you wearing, Beach?
Well, that's right. If you woke up this morning and you said, "What are you wearing, Beach?" Now you're gonna know. Black. Again, to I don't know why black is really the color as far as memorials and whatnot is, but it is. So, but I tried to pep it up a little bit. I've got my my paperboy hat. This is normally I'm wearing a ball cap, as you would say. This is kind of more of a soft paperboy hat made by Satori. I've had this hat for quite a while as well. The T-shirt is an Ono, and we embroidered that peace leaf, hemp peace leaf on there right here at Planet Everywhere. Got the good old head case boxers. Again, it's been around for a while. And if you look at the label of those head case boxers there, that's like a little pocket. And so it's got a little secret stash. That was one thing Headcase did in all their hemp products back in the day was whether it was a hat or the boxers or what, or even the T-shirts. I've got T-shirts that have the same tag, and it's got a little secret storage place for it there. So
Nice.
Put your money or keep stuff safe. Kentucky Hemp Outfitters jeans, my favorite jeans in the entire world. Somebody out there sitting on a big old backstock of 36 waist hemp outfitters, I'll take them. Mine are starting to run thin, even though we do have them in the store. Every waist size probably except for 30 or 36s, but they are my all-time favorite hemp jeans ever. I've got the Planet Everywhere dyed hemp socks with the orange and the black kind of match in there a little bit, and the Adidas Sambas finishing up the ensemble today. At the What Are You Wearing, Beach segment of the show. Now you know.
There you go. If you wondered, all your questions have been answered. At least about this. Maybe not all your questions about everything, but in this particular instance, all your questions have been answered.
It is true. It is true. If you're paying attention, you now know what's going on. All right. Welcome, everybody. If you're just now tuning in to the High Noon Hemp Show, I am Beach. That guy that was sitting over there, and I'm sure will be back, is Joe.
I'm still
AKA
here.
Stoner Jesus. He's there. There's his voice.
I go away sometimes.
We're here every Wednesday live at the Hemptations Beach page on Facebook. And then, of course, you can go to YouTube and join the Jedi Hemp channel on YouTube. And all the shows are posted there, any other videos that have anything to do with Hemptations or me, Beach, or all things like that. We'll go there. And so, and I am going to encourage myself, because someone else just told me recently that I need to do a hemp educational. I need to do my keynote presentation in a video and then put it up on YouTube or share it with people. And so, I do have the studio set back up out here, and so I'm going to dedicate some time to doing that. Because obviously there still needs to be a lot of education just on hemp. Again, I had another company that was just like really weirded out, advertising company was just really weirded out about like the hemp products. Again, I don't know why this is an issue now, but it is. And so, that my new turmoils seem to be things that I just can't believe I'm dealing with. And so, anyway, Jedi Hemp channel, YouTube, good stuff. Let's talk about some stuff in the news. We got some big news. I should say some really high news about industrial hemp, because it is now in space. As I talk to you, there is hemp seed in space on the International Space Station. It arrived Sunday morning via SpaceX 17. So thank you, SpaceX 17, for being the first spaceship to transport hemp.
Wow.
It must be legal. I mean, do they have to take that stuff through customs? I mean, how does that work when it comes to to products, so to speak, or anything going to space? But obviously, they believe that it must be harmless in space at least, because the first shipment of industrial hemp seeds showed up at the International Space Station again Sunday morning, I believe it was, via SpaceX 17. And this was a part of a program that stems out of Lexington, Kentucky, called Space Tango. They partnered with Atolla in Winchester, who is one of the leading industrial hemp growers. I am sure mostly for CBD. I know mostly for CBD, but I think they've been around. Again, they were kind of an very early adapter to industrial hemp in Kentucky, and are obviously going so strong that they can partner with this Space Tango and get hemp seed into space. And so they're going to obviously they're going to attempt to grow industrial hemp in space. This is what I predict. They're going to run out of room. This is what I'm going to tell you. This hemp is going to grow in space as long as they understand the lighting issue, because hemp, it's a light. When you're growing cannabis, almost every species of cannabis, it goes on a light cycle. So it obviously the two things happen. The ground has to get warm enough for the seed to know to open. That's its first thing. That's the first thing the hemp plant does. Then it flowers when the sun tells it to flower. And so there's nothing else. And so it's the light that controls it. And so I think as long as they're giving the plants the right light, I think once again, we're going to find in like a month, if they're doing everything right up there in a month, we're going to find out that they had to cut the plants or kill them, and they didn't know what to do because they were running out of room. Because, logically speaking, it's a great plant to grow in space. I can tell you this. I wouldn't commit to going to Mars unless we were going to be growing hemp and taking an unbelievably amount of viable hemp seed with us. I think most of the many reasons as to why hemp is great, so we can eat it. We can get there and we can make our clothes out of it. We can build our houses out of it. We can use it for fuel to keep warm on a very hostile planet that, is not going to warm up anytime soon. That's the first obstacle of Mars. And so I think that any attempt to go to Mars or to a long-term space travel, so to speak, has to have hemp involved. It has to. Again, there would be no other one singular crop. Obviously you want to have a multitude of crops, but if there was one singular crop, hemp would be the one that would give the people that committed their lives to that the best opportunity to survive, not only on their way to Mars, but when they arrived at Mars. If there truly is a water source on Mars, again, you're talking about a lighting issue. The sun's a lot different in Mars than it is here on Earth, just so you know. But take a bunch of solar panels and it's flat and rocky. And so whatever little radiation from the sun that's hitting Mars that we could use is viable. I don't know. I don't know what I've never seen those studies. But anyway, hemp should be the plant. This is the start of that. This industrial hemp making its way onto the International Space Station. We'll hopefully, I feel like, they know what they're doing when it comes to growing vegetative matter, because that is a big part of why the International Space Station exists. If you didn't know that, they're not just up there floating around, taking pictures of Earth. One of their major goals is to study life, either bacterium, viruses in space, but mostly plant, because they're trying to figure out just what I was talking about. What are the best plants? You know, they already figured out which ones were the clean plants. There's a list. If you want to go look at the best plants for filtering your air, which is common house plants, just Google NASA's 10 top filtering plants and it'll pop up, because that was one of the first things that they actually studied in space, was what plants can clean the air, so they can grow those plants in wherever they are in space and keep their air clean. They know which ones they've got it down to which ones filter what chemicals you don't want to be breathing. And they know which plants do the best of that. And I have some of those, snake plants one. And so anyway, we'll see what they find out about industrial hemp filtering the air, because I'm sure that they will put that to one of the tests. They will find out that it will help with soil issues. If there's dirty soil in space, then hemp can clean up that, because it is a phytoremediator. And so, if they do it right, I look forward to the results. I really do. Because barring some unfortunate, they all died some tragic, weird, we don't know what we're doing when it comes to growing plants on ISIS. ISIS is not ISIS. It's ISS, the International Space Station. Then, I think all will be good. So I look forward to those results. Well, let's all pay attention to hemp in space. For the record, I've had on my whiteboard that sits up behind me the statement "hemp in space" for at least 5 years, because we were discussing it kind of on a different subject. But anyway, glad to see it happening one way or another. The other kind of interesting news is Stash Logic, which is a product that we carry. Now, Stash Logic makes a lockable zipper case. Okay, this is like a child-proof case. They promoted it in legal states as a locking cannabis case, to keep your cannabis safe from your children or whoever you didn't want in your cannabis. The customs seized a shipment of these Stash Logic cases. Again, it's just a case that zips up. It's supposed to be they are smell proof. They have a lock on them. Sometimes they have little containers inside, depending on which one you get. But customs seized like $15,000 worth of their inventory, calling it a drug product, a drug thing, a marijuana product. And so this was probably at least 2 or 3 years ago. Good news, they got their product returned just recently.
Wow.
And this is years and years, right? The product we sell, I supported them. I remember right after everything happened, I went and made a decently sized order and supported what product they did still have here in the States, as they were trying to transition into having the product made locally instead of trying to get it through customs. They could easily just, and so, but anyway, they weathered that storm. They continued to make their product. I look forward to going and hopefully actually buying some of the seized products and putting it in the store. I'm going to put a sticker on it. Just came up with this, as seized on the border or something, like, instead of as seen on TV, as seized on. Anyway.
Special end cap, and it'll make a whole thing of it.
That's right.
Like a cardboard cutout of a customs agent, like pointing at it or something.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, that is some marketing that I would love to do. So anyway, good for them, good for the government for finally not being stupid. Again, that was one of the ones where I was like, wow, man, they are desperate. They are seriously desperate at the borders for seizing this, coming in. But glad to hear that they got the product back and can move forward with that. The last one for all you grandmas out there, I want to warn you, Disney World's coming for you. There was a grandmother, I think she was a 69-year-old lady, arrested in Florida, Disney World, trying to, you got to go through security and all that stuff, but she was arrested by the sheriff's department or whatever, taken back to the headquarters for CBD. She was immediately released. Just so everybody knows, don't panic. We don't have to go down to Florida with some signs saying "Release Granny." She was just trying to make her day at Disney World with her grandkids a little bit more comforting. Take away the, right? And so that was an interesting little happening down there. Hopefully, once again, they were obviously educated very quickly on the product and as to what it does or doesn't do. She was allowed to go on her day pretty quickly. But, all we can do is, she shouldn't have had to go through that. She went through that for every one of us. Every one of the customers here that carries around a bottle of tincture, same as Robbie. Robbie went through a year and a half of house arrest, 2 felony charges, blah, 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 blah. And then once again, unfortunately, it took Mansfield a year and a half to drop his charges. Obviously, it was probably a little easier for this grandmother to argue her point, and then maybe them to actually find out whether it was legal or not legal. That happened very quickly, and so this is still the issues. We can make light of it a little, as much as we have to know that these are still the daily issues of this supplement industry that we still need to address. Luckily, once again, this issue in Florida can easily, be a testament as to look what happened so quickly. They obviously realized very quickly, and we're very embarrassed. They got, quite shunned and ridiculed for the ridiculousness of this, and that was obviously another reason why she was released almost immediately and the charges were dropped, blah, blah, blah. Or she was never charged. Okay. I don't believe she was ever charged. Although I don't know how that works. I guess you can arrest you and then immediately unarrest you. I can't keep up with their rules. Oops. Okay. You're unarrested. Now you can go about your day. We can't tell you what to do anymore. Anyway, it is a testament to the fact that CBD is legal in every state, even Florida, when it's derived from industrial hemp, with the exception, and I do want to make the exception, and I need to verify this because I keep saying this, but I do believe there was, and I don't know if it actually passed or not, a state that did try to make CBD illegal, because that's what it would take for whatever state you're in for industrial hemp to be illegal. It's not a marijuana product. Never was a marijuana product. It is regulated by laws, federal laws, beyond state laws. And again, unless your state has made CBD illegal, specifically CBD, cannabidiol, then industrial hemp CBD products are legal. That's obviously what happened with this lady in Florida. That's obviously what happened here up in Mansfield. Eventually, what happened? What's interesting is they set a trial date. They finally set a trial date after they kept putting it off for this poor kid. And then I guess they finally got the facts. Someone must have actually went in front of the judge, or because it wasn't the prosecutor. So I'm pretty sure, because the prosecutor, I think, was kind of upset. He feels like he got his toes stepped on, even though all they did was finally educate the judge on the actual laws. The prosecutor wasn't going to take the time. He was not going to take the time to find out about, because that's not his job. His job is to lock that kid up because he thinks he was doing something illegal. And so the prosecutor isn't going to take the time to find out what the real law is, unfortunately. So, and I think that's why I did hear after that they, that the prosecutor was trying to do something. And so that's just ridiculous. And I think he's got his feelings hurt because he didn't take the time to find out what the law was to begin with, in all honesty. So anyway, that's the news for the national and whatnot. And so we got a couple events here real quick. May 11th, which is actually coming up this weekend. Hemp on the Slope, which is a spring summit in Grand Junction, Colorado. You can go to Hemp Events, find out about that and other events that may be happening and talking about hemp and hemp-related stuff. May 19th, which is this was just announced. We're going to see the Hemp Road Trip. Big fan. I was out on the Hemp Road Trip for about 10 days a couple years ago. Is going to be at the Healing Ground Farms, which is Mike Lewis's Growing Warriors. And Mike was one of the original hemp farmers in Kentucky, part of the original 15 acres or so, way back in the day. They're going to have a full day of hemp farming related stuff. They're going to talk about hemp seed. They're going to be talking about as far as hemp and livestock. And so I can tell you, if you are in the London, Kentucky area, he's going to ride outside of London, and you want to learn about hemp farming from someone who probably knows about hemp farming more than anyone, then I would definitely get down to, they're in Mount Vernon, and I'll get the address and everything up. I think it was a $15 ticket. Veterans get in for free if you want to attend. Again, Mike is part of the Growing Warriors program as a veteran and a farmer. And so I think that's pretty admirable that the program exists, because we all know that veterans, whether you support war or not, we all know that veterans come back from war and find it very difficult to exist in society, whether it's finding a job that suits them, and so I personally am anti-war, but I am pro-veteran. My grandfather fought in World War II. My brother is a veteran. And so, I think the Growing Warriors program is obviously great for veterans who are interested in farming as a viable way of life. And Mike was actually brought in, as the story was told, he was brought in by Comer, who was in the Department of Agriculture at the time, didn't know anything about hemp. And they were like, because you're in this Growing Warriors, we want you to try to do this and see, and so they actually went to him originally 5 years ago, whenever that was. And he found enough belief in the plant fiber. They were going for fiber more than anything, actually, originally. And so he adapted some of their ways and continues to grow hemp and support it, obviously, in Kentucky as a viable crop and commodity for farmers. And so, again, if you're in Kentucky and you want to know about hemp farming on all aspects, probably less about CBD than anywhere else, more about maybe the grain part of it or the fiber part of it, just growing the plant and the farming, then this event is the one I would definitely recommend down at Mount Vernon, again, at the Healing Ground Farms. The Hemp Road Trip, Rick Trojan, he's going to be stopping by. They have some other unbelievably great, intelligent speakers. And so if you're really interested, go there, do that. What else we got? May 31st, again, this FDA at the White Oak campus. And again, just so everybody knows, if you go to the second page of the hemptations.com site, you can find all the information about the hemp events that I'm talking about. The first page has all the stuff relevant to the stores, and the second page has the events happening all over the world related to hemp, industrial hemp specifically. This FDA thing is a CBD. If you want to go and make comments to the FDA, you can do that at this May 31st FDA meeting. My advice there, once again, is honestly the FDA doesn't need to have anything to do with CBD other than making sure that the claims, not the claims, but that people are representing the product correctly, which is not making claims. Or that that they actually maybe have the amount of CBD in them. I don't know, whatever. That's kind of self-regulating. Hemp History Week, first week of June. I still need to get registered if we're going to have official events, but we will have unofficial Hemp History Week events one way or another. And so that's pretty much it. The Eastern U.S. Hemp Conference and Expo, June 1st weekend, 4th and 5th in June as well. I think this June 6th event was just added. This is the Tennessee Hemp Victory Bash and Summit. So one-day event in Nashville. So that might be kind of fun. Tennessee is starting to embrace industrial hemp. And Nashville is a fun little city. So again, that's June 6th. I don't believe, unfortunately, have you seen any questions this week?
I have not. Amanda in the chat room says, "Hey guys," but that's about it. Again, if you have questions,
Hi, Amanda.
Yahoo.com. Of course, if you want to post them on Facebook, we might find them. But if you just want to email them directly to Beach, probably be the best way. It could be about hemp, CBD products in the stores, anything really, anything you think Beach might know. Give it a shot.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned Amanda. It's actually, I'm going to use a question that Amanda just brought up to me this week, and she was actually kind of third party sourcing hemp soap, and she asked me for some connections there, which I immediately sent her, and one was the Dr. Squatch. And so if you're a retailer out there and you want to pick up she was asking for a retailer in the Colorado somewhere, a retailer, Dr. Squatch is great. They've been around for a while. They've got, I think, 8 different scents or so, something like that. Some beer, shaving soap kind of, and shampoo and conditioner as well. And then the other, this is, and I'm sure I'm not going to pronounce the name of her company right, but it's Yanali, if you can see this. But if you are looking for someone, she locally, basically, I think down in Kentucky, makes the soap, has 3 cents or so. We sell them in the store. But this is a really well-made soap. I can get you that information. All you got to do is, if you want to ask me, you can always email me at hemptations@yahoo.com. Any questions about hemp, and I will try to help the best that I can as far as sending you in the correct direction for your hemp needs, whatever they may be. As we close today, again, a store dedicated to my cousin Carrie, longtime viewer, long-time beloved cousin, childhood memories, going way back. She will always be remembered. She will always be the number one fan. She will always, and I don't care if you start watching now and watch for 60 episodes, Carrie will always be the number one fan of the High Noon Hemp Show. No one will ever top her dedication to the show. I love you, Carrie. You will be missed, but you will not be forgotten. As always, folks, reduce, reuse, recycle, make everything else out of hemp. Having Hemptations.
We'll see you all next week.